All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the. Shut up, Keith. We're live. Welcome to the sixth episode of the Clinch. We're breaking down UFC 203 and doing a preview of the next fight night card. We got Keith Robert on the show as always. Returning is Jay Martin to go toe to toe with Keith, and I think he's going to throw out some words for CM Punk, but we'll see. All right, I want to thank Dave for being on the last two shows. Dave did an excellent job. I'm sure we'll have you on again. And I want to hop right into the speed bag rounds. We're going to hop right into the early prelim. What's that?
We got to do it fast because Jay's got to go back to work. He
I got like an hour.
He gets an hour break. He works for the headquarters of the Black Lives Matter movement. He'll get back in there.
I can get back to Central Falls fast.
Keith, we would have been halfway through the first fight if you didn't throw that in there. Come on, man. Right, so anyway, we first fight that happened on the card was Sean Spencer versus Yancy Medeiros. And Medeiros picked up the win. Quick thoughts on that fight? Keith?
Go ahead, Jay. I'm eating cookies. Go ahead, Jay.
Want me to go?
Yeah,
I thought it was an alright fight. Actually, to be honest with you, I didn't see the fight. I didn't have a fight pass. I didn't get back in time from what I heard about it. It was a good fight. I think Keith probably would be able to talk about it more than I could.
I thought it was a fantastic fight. It was a fight between two prospects that, let me rewind that. Two failed prospects, two guys that had a lot of hype coming to the UFC. Both, I think, have really disappointed. Sean Spencer at one point was getting compared to John Jones. They were calling the next John Jones to get long arms and legs. He has other features that are similar to John Jones. And Yancy Medeiros is supposed to be like the next Diaz brothers. He was trained by the Diaz, and he's got that thug attitude. The first half of the round, it was kind of feeling out. But once they started getting into exchanging in the second half of the round, it was really good. And then Yancy Medeiros finished the fight off in the second round, beginning of the second with a high kick, jumped into a guillotine, similar to Overeem, where he had him rocked and then jumped right into a guillotine. And going up to welterweight, I'm hoping that not cutting weight will resurrect his career, kind of like Cerrone and Poirier and those guys who moved up in weight.
All right, from that we move on to Drew Dober versus Jason Gonzalez. Dober picked himself up a win here. Jay, were you able to catch this one? This one was on.
Yeah, those I did see. The prelims on Fox Sports 1 I did see. That was a good fight. That was probably the best finish of the night, besides the Miocic finish. Dober's looks like a legit guy. Gonzalez was a newcomer. I think he took the fight on short notice, but it was still a spectacular finish. Dober's the type of guy that at times he looks like a complete fighter. He can wrestle, he can strike, he looks the part. But I know Gonzalez, like I said, is like a newcomer, so I don't know how much stock you can put in the win, but overall it was a exciting finish on a card that was kind of lukewarm. So to open the night up with that fight and that finish, it was impressive. I like Dober. I think he's got a future at lightweight. But again, like I said, Gonzalez, it's not much of a litmus test, but I mean, for him to finish it the way he did was impressive.
Yeah, there's not really much to analyze. It was only about a minute long. Combination. Like I said, like the night started off great with the Yancy Medeiros submission, high kick submission, and then the Drew Dober, just absolute destruction. It looked like it was going to. The card started off phenomenal, then it fell off the cliff after that.
Right after that, we had Nick Lentz, nicknamed the Carney, versus Michael McBride, and he picked himself up a W for the Carney.
The Carney looked good against another guy who came in. I think he came in on 9 days' notice, Michael McBride. Not much of I've never seen McBride before. I've seen Lentz a bunch of times. Lentz is a very good pro, very solid guy. Um, Again, not much of a test since McBride came in on 9 days' notice, but Lentz did what he was supposed to do. I mean, at times McBride looked pretty good. In the first round, he had his moments, but you could just tell Lentz was was just going to take over at some point in the fight, use his wrestling, which he did, and he grinded it out. I think actually McBride missed weight too. Before that, it was a catch weight fight. I guess McBride was at 158, so he missed weight by like 3 pounds, but actually 2 pounds. But it was a decent fight. Lentz did what he was supposed to do against like a C fighter that took the fight on this, but decent fight, good good win for Lentz, who was just basically like a gatekeeper type.
Nick Lentz, to me, he fought a wrestler, Nick Bride, and Nick Lentz is just a better wrestler, and he dominated those positions. Nick Lentz, to me, is like the lightweight version of Phil Davis. He's just a high pressure, good wrestler, and he uses it. He knows what he's good at. He gets to those positions. His top control is really, really solid, as he showed in this fight. He's a grinder. Nick Lentz, I mean, this was an easy fight for him. Just two completely different levels of MMA. To come in on short notice and make your UFC debut against Nick Lentz, that's a really tough situation to be in.
All right, from there we move on to Brad Tavares winning a decision over Chow Miguelis. One thing that jumped out at me on this fight, you guys can kind of elaborate on a little bit more. 1 for 7 on takedowns for Chow.
You want me to start off, Keith?
Yeah, good.
All right. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good.
I'm thrilled about this fight.
It was a decent fight. Yeah, it was a decent fight. They're both big middleweights, Tavares and Magalhães. Both guys that are kind of like, I think this is what the best you'll see out of them. They're prelim guys. Once in a while Tavares will give you an exciting fight. Magalhães is a big, strong, guy who can strike, but both of them at the end of the day are kind of like C+, B- guys. Tavares at times looks like he could be more, but I don't know. He just doesn't have that it factor about him. It was a solid fight. I didn't understand the split decision, to be honest with you. I thought Tavares clearly won 2 rounds, but it wasn't anything that I jumped out of my seat about. It was a whole hump fight between 2 average middleweights. I don't think either one has like a bright future besides what we saw Saturday night. They're prelim guys that were well matched, and I don't think you'll ever see them like beat a top 10 guy or anything like that.
I'll be honest. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings in the first round. I got a phone call from work, and I got distracted. There was a scheduling issue, so I didn't really watch this fight that much. From what I did see, it just seemed like Magalhães was trying to get in the clinch, trying to get a takedown, and to me, from what I saw, it appeared that Brad Tavares just won the fight from the outside, jabs and kicks and stuff. Brad Tavares at one point was a ranked top 15 fighter in the weight class, and it wasn't that long ago. And to me, he's really fallen on hard times. He's lost a couple fights, and even this fight, to go to a split decision, against a guy like Magalhães, this was a guy that UFC was really trying to hope out, especially because of the Hispanic background. And I've not been impressed with him at all. He doesn't have a killer instinct. He pit-a-patters. He doesn't go for a finish. When he beat Phil Baroni, who they brought in and gave him basically a free fight, that was probably the high of his career.
That's the sad part. If your height of your career is beating a washed-up Phil Baroni, you got problems.
All right, then the last fight on the prelims was Jessica Ai versus Besh Correa. It was a split decision win for Correa, and apparently now she wants Miesha Tate, but we'll see what happens with that. What did you guys think about the split decision? Spot on, or?
I watched the fight a second time because when I watched it right before I left to meet Keith at Buffalo Wild Wings, so I watched it kind of like I was getting ready while I was watching it. I thought at first I kind of got screwed, especially at home. I thought she was going to get the decision. I watched it a second time. Correa won the fight. I thought Correa clearly won 2 rounds. Um, Decent fight, average fight. Nothing, to write home about. Yeah, and Tate would actually be a good fight though. I think that they match up well, and for Tate it makes sense since coming off that loss, and Correa is still kind of a name because of the things the nonsense with Rousey, so that could get her back on the map. But as for this fight, I thought it was the right decision. I thought Correa won 2 rounds, and I mean the crowd wasn't too happy about it because I's a local girl, but the judges got it right after the second time I watched the fight.
I don't think it was average. I think it was a snooze fest. I think a moment ago when Jay had his phone all over the place, we're looking at his sailing stuff. I would rather watch that than watch this fight again. Yes, I thought it was awful. I originally, when I watched it, I scored it 29-28 for I. Wouldn't watch it again. And nor will I ever watch that fight again. I had no issue with the 29-28 for Correa. To me, it came down to this. I thought I clearly won the first round. Correa clearly won the third round. It comes down to how you scored the second round. I think the significant strikes was like 26-24 in that round. So it could have went either way. Correa was the one coming forward. So I can see why she got the decision. To me, both women are on losing streaks. And to me, they both fought this fight to not lose. They both kind of stayed out of range. I mean, Jessica I was throwing out jabs that were missing Correa by a foot, and she kept doing it, just trying to look busy. I thought it was an awful performance for both. And Jessica I, if she was aggressive, this is a perfect matchup for her because she's a better striker than Correa, and she can stuff the takedowns. To me, this is a really easy fight for Jessica I, and she really blew it. In her hometown too. I mean, come on.
I agree. That's what I was surprised that she didn't fight better, especially considering that she was fighting at home. This was a fight for her, definitely to win and move up, but she screwed herself on this one for sure.
The only thing worse than the fight was Betch Correa's dancing afterwards.
How's she stack up?
Betch Correa.
Get a hard on for that.
Oh, she's beautiful.
All right, real quick. Antonio Brown dancing or Best Correa dancing?
Oh God. Can I pick C? None of the above.
I'll take Antonio Brown. He helped my fantasy team. So.
Oh, you like that dance, huh?
You think he's been thinking about that for like 9 months now too.
Yeah. I thought he'd come up a little bit better than the rump shaker.
All right, we move into the main card. We had Jessica Andrade versus Joanne Calderwood in a fight that a lot of people thought would be better than it was. First round submission for Andrade is how it ended up.
I actually walked in right when this fight was happening, right probably like 30 seconds before the submission. I walked into Buffalo Wild Wings to meet Keith and a couple other guys, and I saw that I was able to see the finish. Impressive finish by Andre. Calderwood is a tough girl. I thought this fight would go at least 2 or 3 rounds. I thought it could go to decision, like a war type of fight, because Calderwood brings it. She's a good striker. Andrade's well-rounded, so I was kind of surprised that it ended in 1 round. I walked in and then I was seeing Calderwood stuck in the choke. I was like, wow, what the hell's going on? And Keith's like, yeah, she just basically tapped out just now. And I'm like, holy shit. It was a good finish, good win for Andrade. Like I said, I thought this was going to be one of the better fights on the card because I just thought it was going to be a war, but Andrade finished it quick. It's an impressive win for her.
Yeah, to me, I thought this was going to be. I thought it was a toss-up fight. I thought it was one of the hardest fights on the card to pick. Jessica Andrade she looks phenomenal at the new weight class. She looks like a completely different fighter. To me, this is like the equivalent of like a perfect game or something because she was flawless in this fight. She has so much power and she brings so much pressure in this weight class. And then she added in takedowns. That slam was the place in Buffalo Wild Wings went crazy with that huge slam. And then it didn't just stop there. She was busy in the guard. She passed guard really easy, nice ground and pound. And then when Calderwood flurried to get back on the feet, bam, she sunk in that guillotine choke. To me, right now, Jessica Andrade has got to be. She seems the biggest threat to Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Karolina Kowalkiewicz, the winner of that fight. I think she's got to be the next one in line. And
I agree.
She actually reminds me of Claudia Gadelha, but like a better version. Now, Gadelha has been fighting much higher competition, but this is the first time Jessica Andrade has faced, a top 10 strawweight, and she absolutely blitzed them. It was wow.
All right, moving on to the next fight on the card, we had Uriah Faber versus Jimmy Rivera. A huge fight for Rivera. He's finally going up against a big name in the UFC, and he went out there and performed. He picked up a unanimous decision, won all 3 rounds with all 3 judges, and picked himself up a nice win. What do you guys think of this fight?
I thought it was a very good win for Rivera. I think that Faber, while he's faded, and at this point just basically he's a gatekeeper, he's still a good scalp to have on your record, and Rivera needed that. Now Rivera can say he's beaten a name, which Faber still is, even though, like I said, he is faded. Rivera had a good game plan. He's a wrestler, but he can strike too, and he basically just outstruck Faber the whole fight. He was the first to get there. He would land first, land harder shots. Faber just seemed like he was okay with coasting up until the 3rd round. He got a little bit more. He kind of knew that he was down 2 rounds, so he worked a little bit more. But for most of the fight, Faber just didn't work enough for me, and he just couldn't get off. Where Rivera got off first in the first 2 rounds, and then that eye poke happened. I think that was the 3rd round. But other than that, Faber didn't do much at all, and I think Rivera deserved all 3 rounds, and it was an impressive win for him. I picked Rivera to win this fight. I think this was like his coming out party to beat Faber, and I think he's got a bright future. I actually thought going into the fight that he was undefeated. I didn't realize that he lost a fight early in his career. I know he hasn't lost in the UFC, and he's looked good in just about every fight, and this was a linchpin for him. And you're going to see, I think, him move up fast and get a big fight from this.
Yeah, Jimmy Rivera, he's 20-1 right now. He's won 19 in a row.
Yep.
Coming in, he fought Uriah Faber, who's still, Faber's past his prime, but he's still a competitive fight. He had moments against Dominic Cruz in the 1st round where he looked good. And Rivera beat Faber worse than Cruz did.
Yeah.
I thought he controlled every moment of the fight. He kept landing the left hook and overhand right over and over again. His leg kicks were, devastating. Faber hasn't been hit with leg kicks like that since Jose Aldo fight years ago. He looks really good. One thing I was a little frustrated, and I get this. This is your face. He was talking about afterwards, facing the guy he looked up to. Was it reminded me a lot of the Nick Hine fight from last week? As in the whole time I kept saying, if he gets aggressive, he could finish that fight. He was landing on will. I really wish he went for the kill and tried to finish Uriah Faber. He's got all the tools. He's a really good striker in the pocket. I was really really impressed by his striking in the pocket, especially against Uriah Faber, crafty veteran. You gotta. That's another. To me, the bantamweight division is my favorite weight class right now. There's so many top prospects. You got Garbrandt and Almeida and Sterling, Lineker and Dotson. Now you throw in Jimmy Rivera versus the winner of John Dotson and John Lineker. What a fight! That would be a fight. That's the fight I really hope, because and then the way I look at it is the winner of that fight would be next in line for a title fight. So I think it makes sense. So Jimmy Rivera versus Dotson, Lineker winner.
That was my one gripe about the fight, that Rivera didn't go for a finish. I think he could have finished Faber at any point in that. Well, not any point in that fight, but especially like second round. If he stepped on the gas, I think Faber was ripe to get stopped. And that would have been a greater accomplishment to stop Faber because Faber doesn't get stopped much, and if I just think if he stepped on the gas a little bit more, I think he could have stopped the fight. It could have got a knockout or gone for a submission. Faber was he beat Faber pretty clearly, but that was my one gripe that he didn't go for the stop.
Yeah, it reminded me of the Jose Aldo versus Faber, and the Frankie Edgar versus Faber, where Faber was just outmatched. And at one point, to me, I felt like he was just looking to try to go to decision and try to make it somewhat like trying to gain moral victories. Mm-hmm. He looked absolutely like he knew he was over his head and he had nothing he could do. And that's what a top prospect should do to a fading star.
Yep. Make a statement.
A couple of things I want to throw out there about it. The leg kicks, Keith, you mentioned on, they came often. He was tearing them up with leg kicks, and he was controlling the center of the octagon pretty much the entire fight. The other thing, Faber was 0 for 4 on takedowns, and Jimmy Rivera still has not been taken down in the UFC.
That's incredible. Incredible.
Remember, this is Faber who slammed Dominic Cruz at UFC 199 in the opening round. Faber's still a good wrestler.
All right, after that, we're going to move on to the one of the hyped-up fights on the card. It ended just about how everyone expected. Mickey Gall winning by submission over CM Punk. There's not really much to break down, but I'm going to let you guys talk about it anyway.
I thought it was just.
Jay, you want to go first? I know how much you were looking into this. So you want?
I'll go first. This thing was a joke. I won't even call him CM Punk. I'm gonna call him Phil Brooks because I'm a 38-year-old man. So I'm gonna call him Phil Brooks. Phil Brooks is an embarrassment to combat sports. Literally an embarrassment. For him to be on the pay-per-view portion of a card, it's in any other sport. You would never see this in boxing. You would never see this in kickboxing. Nothing. You're not gonna see a guy who's 0-0. That has no fight discipline.
Hold on.
Yeah, he's never trained in his life in any type of kickboxing, boxing, wrestling, anything, jiu-jitsu. He has zero training in any fight discipline. And for him to get a fight on a main card, it's a black eye to the sport. It's a circus act. It's something that you would see in Bellator. You shouldn't be seeing this in the UFC. I understand they were trying to get buys. He probably added. I'll be honest, to give him credit, he probably added 200,000 buys to this card. I heard this card got 600,000 buys. 200 of those. Was it 800? Wow, that high. 800. I heard it was between 6 and 700. So like 800?
650 and 800.
If they did 800, he gave him 300,000 buys then, because I thought this card was going to get 400,000 to 500,000 tops. So you got to give him credit for that, but he's one of the worst fighters I've ever seen in my life. And when I was watching that show, The Evolution of Punk, the training footage was so embarrassing. I cringed. I could not believe a guy that was training for a year and a half couldn't throw a proper punch. He was throwing a 3-punch combination that my nephew throws. He's 11 years old, and you could see Phil Brooks thinking about it. Like he would have to think about 1-2-1, get my hand up against a 50-year-old striking coach. Duke Rufus's striking coach was schooling him in those videos. 50 years old. That I just said, I was surprised it went 2 minutes, to be honest with you. I think Gall could have finished it in 30 seconds if he wanted to. I think he just wanted to punish him. So it was just, like I said, just a black eye to the sport. When we were at Buffalo Wild Wings, there was a dozen guys that left after the fight. You don't want those type of fans watching. You really don't. I mean, there was literally 12 guys that left the place after that fight when you had a heavyweight championship fight coming on in about 45 minutes. So it just attracts the wrong crowd. I don't like it at all. I thought it was awful. And the payout, he got a $500,000 payout with pay-per-view bonuses on top of it. $500,000 to make a fool of himself. It was just awful. Awful fight.
Probably $800,000 or maybe even $1 million, what you added in the pay-per-view buy rates.
Yep, he's gonna make $1 million. This guy.
Especially pay-per-view buy rates, especially if they're as high as they're claiming. Mark Ramondi from MMAfighting.com is claiming anywhere between 650 buys to 800. That's the early number.
And like I said, he was easily responsible for 300,000 of those because you got the wrestling fans that are gonna put in. Then you got the ultra casuals ordering it just to see the spectacle of it. So I mean, whatever. Yeah. It just shows that a lot of this is about money. A guy like this does not deserve to be on a card like this. And Mickey Gall is an average guy. Can you imagine if he fought like a top 25 welterweight? He would have got like you would have really seen a death in the ring if he fought a top 25 guy. And this is a good point too. I heard I was talking about my buddy about it. This is the closest you're ever going to see to an average guy getting into the ring with a pro fighter. If you average guys think that you can do anything against a pro fighter, watch this fight. Watch this fight.
That's right.
I mean, you're never gonna. A pro fighter who's 2-0 did this to this guy. And I hear idiots all the time saying, "Oh, I could beat up Golovkin. I could beat up Klitschko." Suck. Believe me. Watch this fight. This shows you right here what a pro does to just a normal average guy. They'll maul you.
Jay, remember when that guy was? Hey, remember that guy was claiming he could beat Mark Hunt?
Mark Hunt, yeah. Watch this fight. There's a guy that we were watching the pay-per-view. I said, "Oh, look, Mark Hunt. He's such a fat slob. I could beat him." Mark Hunt would knock your head into the third row. Yeah, 6 months.
6 months training.
Yeah, you could have 60 months to train, and they would kill you. He'd kill you. I mean, it's just Mark Hunt would knock your head into the third row. So this is actually a good reality check for normal guys. Watch this fight. You can't just fight a pro. It's not going to happen.
It's funny because Jay is saying all this bad stuff about CM Punk now, but he was saying it completely different at 11 o'clock on Saturday night. He was saying he was so excited. He was hoping
yeah, right.
Sharpshooter.
Yeah, right.
He was like,
Sharpshooter.
I'm calling it now. He's going to win the title one day.
Right, yeah.
I don't know why he changed his tone.
Brutal. Just an embarrassment.
People thinking CM Punk was going to be an elite fighter is like when people say Eli Manning's an elite quarterback.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Now you're comparing those two, huh? You're as delusional as the wrestling fans. You're as delusional as the wrestling fans. I actually heard wrestling fans, WWE fans, that actually said, "Well, CM Punk, he could win this fight. He could, give him he's been training for 2 years." I said, "Watch the video. Watch that stupid show, Evolution of Punk. If you can't tell this guy was getting beat up by like punching bags, guys that are in Rufus's gym who are basically D guys that are punching bags for like Anthony Pettis. He was getting schooled by those guys, and Mickey Gall is nothing special. Mickey Gall should slow his roll too because he got, he was getting chirpy at the end of the fight. I want to call this guy or this. Mickey Gall's not that good. I mean, he's an average prospect, but an average prospect is going to look like that against a 37-year-old guy off the couch. I mean, that's what they're going to look like. So, but Gall's a smart guy. He made a name off of Phil Brooks, and he only made $30,000, but that $30,000 he's going to catapult into. If he fights Northcutt, that's going to be $75,000. If he beats Northcutt, that'll go to $150,000 for next. So he's a smart guy. He called out the right guy, and he knew he was going to destroy him.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I'm going to say this. We've probably spent too much time on this fight already.
Probably, yeah.
But
yeah.
That's what Jay wanted.
Jay had a lot to get out on this fight. He had a lot. He had
really
a lot of
wanted to talk
thoughts
about
on it that he had to just get out.
I had a vent.
Punk. I'm going to give CM Punk credit. Like, he has balls. He went in there. He fought in the UFC. So all these people who are making fun of him and dogging WF wrestlers and all this shit, the guy showed he had balls. I mean, Conor McGregor even said it. He said, "Hey, I give him credit. The rest of these other bitches in WWF doesn't want to go in." Now, I think Conor McGregor is setting himself up for a WWF deal when he decides to retire from MMA. But he gave him credit. But to me, this was like a baseball player in low A, like the guy who gets drafted in the 199th round of the draft, facing a top MLB prospect, like a top AAA prospect pitcher. Well, what do you expect? He's going to be three pitches, strike him out, see you later. Mickey Gall, I'm actually going to disagree with Jay. I've been hearing a lot of good stuff from him. This guy's a really good brown belt, not just a low-level brown belt. He's a really good brown belt. He's been doing really good in competitions. He just recently went to American Top Team, and they're all raving about him, saying that this guy, he was going to make it to the UFC eventually anyways. And they really think this guy, he's got power in his hands, and he's got really top-notch jiu-jitsu. one thing you could say, CM Punk, he lasted longer than Mike Jackson did against Mickey Gall. He only lasted 45 seconds. So
I think Mickey Gall did that on purpose though. He dragged out the fight to show, just to give him a little bit of a beat. He could have finished that fight in 30 seconds if he wanted to.
I absolutely agree with Jay on that one. I mean, you could tell that he had his openings that he just left there for a little while, so he could have pounded him in the head.
He wanted to drag that out for sure. And I got to disagree with Keith. I don't give Phil Brooks any credit. This was a money grab for him. At first, I heard he was only supposed to make $250,000, and it came out the other day that he's making $500,000. Now, this is a money grab, and he's going to stay in it, maybe. But according to Dana White, he's not going to be fighting in the UFC. He wants him to fight in a small organization to get his feet wet. But I just don't see anything in him that I think he's going to be a good fighter. He's 37 years old. He has no base. At least like a guy like Lesnar had a wrestling base. He was big. He was athletic. He had the intangibles. Phil Brooks has no intangibles, no fighting base. A 37-year-old guy just can't come off the street and become a professional fighter. He might have another fight or two and get destroyed and then say enough. The guy, did the same thing, Batista. And Batista almost got embarrassed by a 300-pound tub of lard who took the fight on 4 days' notice. There's just certain guys. This isn't a sport for triers. You don't try a combat sport. You don't try boxing. You don't try MMA. So I think this thing was a money grab. That's all it was.
I'm going to go off of what Jay said about Dana White saying he needs to go down to a lower. If he wants to keep fighting, you either embrace the freak show part of this or you don't. Because what do you expect him to go down to a lower level, fight for 2 years, and he's going to come back better at 39?
No, he's not.
He beaten up his body in WWF for years. What do you expect this guy? I mean, he has just embraced the freak show. Either say, yeah, did it for money. We did it. Stipe Miocic versus Fabricio Verdum. Their main event a couple of UFCs ago did 350,000 pay-per-view buys. Now they're reporting possibly 800 pay-per-view buys.
Yeah.
Just say what it is.
Yeah. Yep.
You got 450,000 more pay-per-view buys by bringing this guy in. Now, I've been hearing that he had a multiple fight contract, that they might have to put him in, kind of like what the UFC did with Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt originally, when he brought in from Pride, yeah. Fights, and they were forced to use him because they didn't want him because he was doing awful then. He looked like he was done with MMA, and then he actually made a nice little run. So what do you do if you have to give this guy a fight? You bring Mike Jackson back with 0-1. I think the best thing you can do with him. Seriously, the best thing you could do with him. I honestly spent time trying to think what you could do with him. The best thing you could do with him is him get on the mic and call WWF wrestlers a bunch of pussies and said, "I proved that I can do it. Why don't one of you guys come to WWF and fight me?"
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio or Mr. Perfect or Chris Jericho or
the Killer Bees.
What else can you do?
How about have a tag team match with the Killer Bees? Have a tag team match with the Killer Bees.
Because the people who saw him fight, if he gained 400,000 pay-per-view buys, obviously he's not going to draw that again.
No, you won't even get half of that.
Maybe Shawn Michaels versus CM Punk would pull a huge rating.
A ladder match.
I don't know who he has beef with. The only other person I could think of would be CM Punk versus Edwin Taverdian.
Oh God.
He's scrapping it up. He's scrapping it up. Let them two guys go.
Jesus Christ. Well, they should just call out someone from the crowd. They should just say, okay, we're gonna enter everybody's name into a hat, and whoever we pull out of a hat has to fight Phil Brooks, aka CM Punk, and they get $100,000, something like that. It's a circus shit.
It's like at a hockey game, if you get the puck through the. You get the puck into the
if you can last 1 minute with Phil Brooks, you get $100,000.
You get a car.
You get a car.
Just for the record,
what an embarrassment!
I fought MMA. I fought MMA in 2007. I'm 1-0 in MMA. I haven't.
Go fight Brooks.
I will come out of retirement. This is on record. I am 100%. If UFC fight, I will fight CM Punk. All they have to do is pay off my house. So that's not even close to paying his ass.
The problem is, though,
At that point,
You're not making more than Mickey
not only
Gall.
that, but I'll beat him too.
the problem is, though, you're gonna have to fight at a catch weight. You're gonna have to fight at a catch weight of about 240.
I was
Yeah.
205.
209?
205. I was 211.
Oh, yeah.
Close on. I was 211 close on. But I had rocks in my pockets.
All right.
Keith versus Phil Brooks at UFC 205 in Madison Square Garden.
Oh,
So, anyways, before we move on, one thing I want to talk about Mickey Gall, because we've just been talking about CM Punk. Mickey Gall was, it was perfect. I actually said on the last one, I said he's going to beat CM Punk, but he's going to call out Sage Northcutt. So I felt like I should get a little credit for that.
Yeah, you called that.
I think that's a great fight. I don't know if Sage Northcutt's going to take that fight because he's talking about going down to lightweight. The one thing I don't want them to do is rush Gall. Don't rush him. Don't have him fight like a Kevin Lee or someone like that that'll kill him. Don't rush this guy. He wasn't supposed to be in the UFC yet. Don't ruin him because the one benefit of this fight is that now you do have somewhat of a star in Gall. The idea I was thinking of that they could actually, here's another angle that they could really use CM Punk is, I don't play video games. I know Justin does. I'm assuming in the video game, when you make a character in the video game, you kind of work your way up fighting people. Like
right.
If you make yourself a welterweight and you create a person, then you eventually fight Robbie Lawler and Tyron Woodley. But like, I'm sure you have to start with lower guys. Boom, right. CM Punk could be the first guy. You create your fighter, you fight CM Punk in the video game.
He's the new Glass Joe. He's the new Glass Joe.
There you go. What I think they did with him, I think they milk him for whatever's left of his worth. Throw him on some fight pass cards, try to get their fight pass buys that way, and basically milk him until his multi-fight contract is done, and then I think he's gone.
That's a good point. I think he a guy I know said he has a 3-fight contract. He signed for 3 fights, so he's got 2 more left. So good luck with that, Dana.
Both bushwhackers.
Yeah, good luck with that, Dana.
Both bushwhackers, back to back.
The bushwhackers.
When I was telling Jay Saturday night, I think Mickey Gall, that should be his gimmick. He should just call out WWF wrestlers from now on. Like his next fight should be against Coco Beware, and then after that he'll play
Nikolai Volkov.
After that he'll take on
Iron Sheik.
Somebody.
No, that'd be a funny little thing for him. Like go out, fight whoever he's supposed to fight after each fight. Like, yo, Shawn Michaels, I want you, or yo, after each fight, do something goofy like that. I think that'd be pretty cute.
Yeah.
Gall comes out on a mask.
Really, I gotta fight versus Shane McMahon.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Shane
I'd probably like McMahon in that. I'd like McMahon in that fight.
I would too, actually. They showed
like Shane
clips of him.
Yeah.
Clips of him training MMA, and he looked a hell of a lot better than Punk did.
Yeah. Clips. Plus, Shane O'Mac would come off the top of the cage and drop an elbow on Punk.
Right.
Yeah, elbow drop.
All right, we gotta move on.
Anyway, real fights. Wins a decision over Travis Brown. Pretty one-sided fight, in my opinion. I'll let you guys do the critical breakdown of it, but I thought it was pretty obvious. You even look at the percentages, and Verdum.
Yeah. What a weird fight. It was just a weird fight. I scored the first round 10-8 for Verdum, and then after that, I thought Verdum kind of gassed himself out, and I think I gave him the third round. So I still had him winning. I had him winning 29-27. Nice to see how aggressive Verdum came out, being that he lost his last fight by knockout. So a lot of times guys who haven't been knocked out in a really long time are worried about getting knocked out, and they'll actually lose. Good evidence of that is the Chuck Liddell versus Keith Jardine fight. He just got knocked out by Rampage, and he was very tentative against Jardine. So that was nice. I mean, he did that flying. I still can't.
That was awesome.
Knocked out. I'm kind of thinking he might have got that from Jean-Claude Van Damme, because he did that kickboxing movie with Van Damme. Van Damme showed that. So that whole finger thing, see, the referee. He's in a tough situation. Naturally, the guy pulls his hand out. What the referee should have did is check the hand, make sure, because sometimes guys will a finger will come out of the glove and they just fix it. That's an equipment problem, or a tape will come off and they'll cut the tape off real quick, retape the glove. I've seen that before. But when he saw that it was an injury, that doesn't go to the doctors. He pulled away, said, "I don't want to fight anymore. I stopped the fight because I have an injury." How is that any different than when Pitbull 2 weeks earlier, when Pitbull waved his hand when he broke his leg, or how's it any different than a guy get hit with a big shot and wave it off? I mean, Michael Chandler, when he got hit by what's his name, Will Brooks in a fight.
Oh, Brooks, yeah, Brooks.
He was rocked and he put his hand up. He didn't want it anymore. That should have been stopped. The last 2 rounds were awful. The best part of the last 2 rounds was when Fabrice Verdum kicked Edwin Taverdian. I hate that guy. I'll come out of retirement to fight him too. But it is what it is. Verdum got a win. He's better than Travis Brown. Travis Brown, he seemed really, after his finger broke, he seemed like he didn't want to be there. Just put in a paycheck.
Travis Brown to me is just an average. He's an average guy. He had his, he's had his moments in the division, but overall, it's just an average guy. There's times he just looks sluggish. Maybe it was due to the hand, but I don't think it was. Verdum's just a better fighter than Brown. You could see it that night. One of the judges didn't even give him a 10-8 round. There was a judge that gave it 29-20. I don't know how the hell they didn't do that. I mean, the first round should have been 10-8. Brown had his moments in the second when it looked like Verdum slowed down a little bit, but then the third round picked up again. I had all 3 rounds for Verdum. I've never thought of Verdum as much of a striker. He looked good at times against Brown, but again, Brown's a mediocre heavyweight. It was a good win. I know he was supposed to fight Rothwell, but again, Rothwell, was a little bit better than Brown, so it would have been, maybe a bigger statement win, but he did what he had to do against a guy he was better than. That whole hand thing, I said the same thing when I was watching it. The referee totally fucked up. You can't do that. If it was an injury, you don't stop the fight. I mean, if something came out of the glove, if there was tape, glove, was loose or something or torn, then you stop it. But an injury, you can't do that. So the referee screwed up on that. It didn't really cost Verdum anything.
Yeah, it cost me in DraftKings.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, because he could have stopped. That's true. He gave Brown an extra 30 seconds, 45 seconds to rest when he shouldn't have had it. Then the thing at the end was ridiculous. I'm no fan of Edwin either. I think he's a joke. Everyone knows I'm a big boxing guy. He's a boxing trainer. He used to train Vic Darchinyan and a few other guys in California. I always thought he was an overrated trainer, and the only reason why he has a name is because he trained Rousey. And to be honest with you, I think he ruined Rousey because I think he's a shitty trainer. I think he's an absolutely shitty trainer. He's a shitty boxing trainer. He's a shitty MMA trainer. And the whole thing with Verdum kicking him, I don't give a shit how shitty of a guy Edwin is. You don't do that. I think Verdum should be suspended. I don't think he will be, but I think he should be.
He got warned.
Did he get warned? But he should be suspended.
Yeah, Edwin, both got warned. That's it.
Yeah, I think they both should be suspended, especially Verdum. You don't kick. I mean, he's a professional fighter. You don't kick another guy, especially a trainer guy. You don't do that to a corner. That's.
Should have took money from him and donated to Armenian Lives Matter.
ALM. But it was a good fight. An average fight on an average card. I wouldn't even say a good fight. Average fight on an average card, and Verdum did what he had to do. He's a top 3 heavyweight. And he beat a mediocre heavyweight.
Travis Brown, he's got to leave. He was much better with Greg Jackson. He's going to
leave. I agree.
Back to Jackson or go to.
Well, you know why he's with him, because his honey's with him. That's why.
Yeah,
that's no reason why.
You look at what Ronda Rousey's been able to accomplish with, to my opinion, the Jeff Fisher of MMA coach. I don't know how anybody uses this word.
It's a good comparison.
That couple, if they went to Greg Jackson's or TriStar, or American Top Team or AKA, one of these good teams. Travis Brown, the tools are there, man. He's got the long range, he's got power, he's got good kicks. But I mean, Tavernian showed what kind of coach he is when Ronda Rousey was fighting Holly Holm, and Holly Holm was kicking her ass, and he said to her, "You're doing great. Just keep going. Just keep doing what you're doing."
Yeah, that was awful. That was awful.
Yeah.
But the thing with Brown though, I'm not a big fan of his. I don't think he had. I mean, he's got size, decent power. He just seems like a lumbering guy. He reminds me of a little bit like Tim Sylvia at the end of Tim Sylvia's career.
You're gonna say that.
Like he just looks like that's at the end of his career. I think Sylvia in his prime would have murdered Brown. But that's what he reminds you of. When you think about it, he really should be on a 4-fight losing streak. He got knocked out by Olaski. He should have been disqualified against Mitrione. Then he got knocked out by Kane, and then he got beat up by Verdum. I mean, he should literally be on a 4-fight losing streak. I mean, he got a gift against Mitrione. I mean, I poked him 3 or 4 different times. I don't know how the hell he even gets disqualified for that. But I mean, I just don't think I've never thought anything much of Brown, to be honest with you. I don't think that really matter what training he goes to.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the main event before Jay has to leave.
Oh yeah, main event. Stipe Miocic winning over Alistair Overeem. Did the fight end faster than you guys expected? How do you feel about it? What happens with Stipe now? Who's he fight next?
I actually called Stipe winning by ground and pound, but in the second round. So I was a round off. I thought if it was going to end, it wasn't going to go more than 2 rounds either way. I mean, Overeem is still an elite striker. Miocic is a close to elite striker. He's got probably some of the best boxing in MMA. And his ground and pound is lethal. I always said that Miocic in a way reminded me of Fedor, except like a stiffer version. He's not as like when you used to see Fedor fight, he was more fluid. But Miocic has a very good wrestling, excellent boxing, a very good to excellent ground and pound. The only thing that he's missing is a sub game, but he's still very good on the ground because of his wrestling and his ground and pound. And Overeem's chin has always been an issue. So I really thought that Miocic was going to win by knockout. He had that scare. And when Overeem hit him with that straight punch, but he was able to overcome that. The guy's a tough guy, Miocic. He's to me clearly the best heavyweight in the world right now. And it was a very good fight. It saved the card. It went from a below average card to about an average card because of this fight. And Miocic said, I think, is the best heavyweight in the world right now.
All right, I'm going to talk about Overeem first. There's certain guys that always find a way to lose. I mean, Overeem is one of them. Another guy, I always think of CB Dalloway. I mean, Dalloway getting an elevator accident. Uno always found a way to do it. Matt Lindland was a guy that would have some freak thing. Matt Lindland slammed himself on his head and knocked himself out. And there's always certain guys, and even when Overeem knocked out, when Overeem hit Miocic, and I thought he was out, I go, oh my God, Overeem just won the belt. I couldn't believe it. I said, I was thinking in my head, I was like, how the hell did Overeem just win the belt? It's freaking Alex Overeem. And then when he went for the guillotine and Miocic got out, I said, oh, that's it. Overeem will find a way to lose. This could be a 10-8. Could be a 10-8 round. So me and Jay are watching the fight, and I mean, me and Jay start discussing. Miocic starts flooring it out. He keeps flooring it out over and over. And me and Jay are saying, "It's like, how do you score this round? He might steal this round." I'm thinking at one point in my head, I'm saying this is gonna be a 10-8 round. Mm-hmm. And next minute I go, "Oh my God, he's gonna steal this round." And then we got a takedown. So as soon as he got the takedown, we turned to Jay. I was like, "It's all over. It's all over. He's gonna knock him out." And then he knocked him out. Yeah. I'm so impressed with this guy. Now, mind you, Overeem knocked out. He's been knocked out in fights that he's been winning. Every one of his losses in the UFC has been fights he's winning. Travis Brown, Ben Rothwell, and now Miocic. All 4 fights are fights that he had moments where he looked like he was going to win the fight. But chin, he's got resilience. He didn't panic when he was in the guillotine. Overeem actually has Zach pointed out in the great debate how good Overeem's guillotine is. And even when he got out, Overeem hit him a couple, 2 or 3 more times left, and his legs were still hurt. But he still found a way to win. It kind of reminded me of in not necessarily stylistically, but just the outcome of the fight reminded me of a lot of Matt Hughes versus Frank Trigg 2, where he looked like he was all done, and then moments later, he found a way to win. And Frankie Edgar against Gray Maynard reminded me a lot of this fight too, where a guy was like, how the hell did he survive? Then he found a way to win.
Mm-hmm.
So Miocic, I've heard Jay compare Miocic to Fedor, and a prime Fedor versus Miocic, I think Miocic is a nightmare for Fedor. And I know Jay thinks I'm a Fedor hater, and I'm really not. There's a lot of guys, but stylistic, I always favor wrestlers against Fedor. And Miocic seems if he keeps this going, if he can beat Verdum and Cain Velasquez, if he beats both those guys, you got to start talking about him as the greatest heavyweight ever. You know.
Yeah, he needs another 2 or 3 signature wins and title defenses, definitely. Yeah, he needs 2 or 3 more, title defenses. That he'll get up to 4 title defenses, and he definitely as big as I bust balls about Cain Velasquez, but if he can beat Cain Velasquez and Verdum again, and then maybe one more heavyweight name, I wouldn't even say. I mean, right now that it's a weak division, but if you get 3 more big wins, you can say that about him because he's just so. I don't know, he just has that all-around game, and then you add in the toughness and the chin. He's the heavyweight division hasn't been great for years, so I mean it's pretty easy to be considered the best ever. All you need is 5 or 6 signature wins, and he's on his way to doing it. Overeem is no joke, Overeem can still hit. I didn't like the shit. I think he was a little out when he said it, but I didn't like the shit he said at the end where he thought Miocic tapped. Miocic didn't tap. Miocic was trying to work out of that choke. So, Joe Rogan made a nice point. He's like, I don't think we should interview fighters who lost by knockout anymore because they don't have all their faculties with them. And he kind of embarrassed himself saying that because we watched the replay twice, and I remember watching the fight live, and I didn't see anything close to a tap.
Yeah.
Miocic was trying to work out of the hold, which he did brilliantly. And I think Overeem actually screwed himself by going for that guillotine. He had Miocic hurt. He should have tried to pounce on him, but he tried to go for the choke instead, and it was a really bad mistake.
Yeah, I got no issues with him going for the guillotine because he's landed it on a lot of guys in the past. I agree. I don't think they should interview guys get knocked out. There's been a lot of fighters who's actually come to Overeem's defense. I was listening to a podcast with Eve Edgewood on, and he was saying that a lot of times guys, when they get knocked out, they lose time, and they actually forget moments when they were awake. So the last thing he might have remembered was him having Miocic in a guillotine. So he actually might have really thought he tapped out.
Yeah.
Is Justin still there? I don't see him.
Yeah, I'm still here. You got me?
I think we lost Justin.
No, he's right there.
Justin, you there?
Yeah, I see him. Yeah, he's got a nice BC. He's got a nice BC Eagles hat on. Did he wear that for you, Keith? Did he wear that BC Eagles hat for you? Wow.
No, he just beat UMass. Just beat a big win against UMass.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, big win for BC. Huge program. That BC football program. Huge program.
Pumping out top stars like Victor Cruz.
They're pumping out top. Oh, UMass. BC. What do they draw now? About 5,000 a game. BC.
I'm going October 1st.
Oh, you might be one of
against Buffalo. I think they can actually win.
Oh, Buffalo! Wow, you might be one of 2,000 people there.
Yeah. It looks like the crowd for Stahl and Crawford.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
All right, Jay,
so who do we?
Jay, real quick. I know you got to go soon.
Yeah, I got about 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. All right. One thing. If you got 10 to 15 minutes, then I won't.
We'll be fine.
I won't throw it off then. All right. So what's next for Stipe? Does he fight for Doom? Does he fight Cain? Do Cain and Verdum fight each other? Then he takes the winner.
I think he has to fight Cain next. I think this is when you strike when the iron's hot. Cain completely obliterated Brown in his last fight. There's nothing else for Cain to prove. There's no need for him to fight anybody else. I think that's the fight you make. You make Miocic, Cain, main event. You make the heavyweight division relevant again. and you hope that Miocic wins that fight, and you have a heavyweight champion that's a name and that a guy who's defending his belt and not that merry-go-round of champions. You want a guy. Heavyweight division is very important. People blast Vladimir Klitschko and stuff, but he was dominant. He was a guy who you could say, "Oh, there's the heavyweight champion." So I think MMA needs that. Miocic could be that guy. He could be the guy. You say, "Okay, there's a heavyweight champion. He's a guy who's defended the belt against the best." There's 3 defenses. You need a guy who can do 5 to 10 defenses and be like that statue where the heavyweight division is still an important division in boxing and MMA. So I think that's why you got to make that fight right away and see if Miocic is the real deal.
To me, there's really only 2 guys. Like you said, the 2 guys. There's only 2 guys you make an argument for. It's Verdum and Cain Velasquez. I understand the argument for Verdum. The argument for Verdum is Steve beat Cain Velasquez, and they both suffered a loss. Next fight, they fought Travis Brown. They both beat Travis Brown. So why would Cain Velasquez skip the guy who beat him? So I see that argument. But the other argument is just Cain Velasquez is a better fighter than Verdum. He's a bigger draw. He's a bigger name. We've already seen Stevie Miocic versus Verdum. I believe that it was a lucky punch. Not that Stevie Miocic beat him. Verdum is lucky, just the way he beat him. I would definitely favor Stipe in a rematch, especially after how Verdum looked in the last 2 rounds. He looked like he's hit a wall, and age has caught up to him, which also happens when you get knocked out.
Yep.
You get knocked out, that'll put it on you. Velasquez versus Stipe Miocic, what a matchup that would be. To me, that is probably the best stylistic matchup. Epic. I just think it'd be an epic heavyweight title. Would it end in the first round? Yeah, probably, because that's what happens in the first round fights. But to me, I wouldn't be as excited for a heavyweight title fight since I said the other day, Randy Couture versus Pedro Hisro 2, which was
that was the last, yeah. That was
10, 12 years ago. And most people in sports talk weren't fans then. And it was a rematch of an extremely close, one of the fight of the year fights. Pedro Hisro and Randy Couture won was the fight of the year. Couture won the second one pretty easily, but the hype on that fight was huge in the MMA world. I think it's definitely would be a fight that you'd want to see. You said this, and I know Jay disagrees with me, but Cain Velasquez to me is the most talented heavyweight I've ever seen. He's the most well-rounded heavyweight I've ever seen, including Fedor. He was always wrestling. Cain doesn't have a weakness. I know Jay dogs his striking, which is to me absurd because Jay is the only person I've ever heard bash Cain Velasquez striking. Most people think it's a strength. He's a pressure fighter. He throws straight shots. He keeps on you. You can never have a chance to recover because he's always keeping on you. He hits you with so many different shots. He's not just straight down the pipe. He throws hooks. He throws kicks. He just keeps the pressure on that no one else has. His wrestling is top notch. His ground and pound is the best I've ever seen. There's a few guys. Stevie Miocic is definitely in the conversation with ground and pound. His ground and pound is top notch too. And there's a couple other guys. Fedor has one of the greatest ground and pound ever. John Jones, ground and pound in his elbows. But Cain Velasquez doesn't just beat you. He ruins your career. I mean, you look what he did to Junior Dos Santos. Junior Dos Santos, I can remember his kids' names from the beatdown Cain Velasquez gave in the last 2 fights. What he did to he ended Antonio Silva's career. Antonio Silva never recovered. I mean, Mark Hunt had something to do with that too. But Travis Brown has never been beat down. And Nogueira, I thought he died when he hit Nogueira. So he just ruins careers. Now, one thing about Cain Velasquez, I understand why some people don't like him. The brown pride on his chest is a huge issue that I have. And I want to be sensitive because I really don't think Cain Velasquez is a racist. He trains under white coaches. He trains with black teammates. He played, you've never had anything. He never said anything racist. But having brown pride across, and I know he means it as I'm proud to be Mexican. I'm proud of my roots. No different than if a white person had Irish pride or a white person had Italian pride. I think he means it like that. But imagine if a white person had white pride.
Oh, forget it. He wouldn't even be. He wouldn't be allowed to fight. He wouldn't be allowed to fight if you had that. If you had it.
I don't think he means it that way, but unfortunately, to a lot of people, it comes across that way, and I'm okay with people who hate on him because of that. Like I said, I don't think he's a racist. He's never been accused of being racist, but I do have an issue with a brown pride. If it said Mexican pride, I'm okay with that. But brown pride, I do have a little issue with that. But like I said, I'm not calling him racist. I don't think he's racist. I just think it was a bad decision or whatever. Anyways, I don't really want to go there. But I'm looking for my charger because my phone's going to die. I don't know what I did with it. Anyways, my thing about Cain Velasquez, if he never got injured, if he didn't suffer all these injuries he's had, I really think we could be having a conversation of him as the greatest heavyweight of all time. I still think he has a chance to do it. Unfortunately, he's getting up there in age. He's had battles and anyways, Miocic versus Cain Velasquez. I haven't been excited for a heavyweight fight in a really long time, and that's one that I actually after we saw that Cain Velasquez is still top notch. So let's make it happen.
All right, and what I want to move on to after the breakdown of that, guys, Keith had a great idea for the show to do the top 3 UFC fighters never to win the title. I want to see what names you guys throw out there. I'm going to throw some out there first. I'm a little green to UFC. You guys know that. Some of the bigger names, you might, laugh. Like, how do you leave him off? But work with me here. All right, my 3 guys are Joseph Benavidez, Nate Diaz, and Dan Henderson.
Those are 3 great names. I was actually gonna say Benavidez is one of them, but I mean in that division, you have Demetrius Johnson, who's just a cut above the rest. So I don't think you're gonna really see. There's a few guys in that division that you're never gonna see win a belt that are talented enough to win a belt because he just has that division under wraps. So, but those are 3 good ones right there. What do you think, Keith?
Well, I came up with this idea because of 2 guys that lost on the card, Uriah Faber and Alice Overeem. The 2 guys who had great careers, and neither one has won a title in the UFC. So I got my top 3. I kind of give you some honorable mentions. One was Uriah Faber and Alice Overeem. Anthony Johnson, Rory McDonald, Chad Mendes. I put both Diaz brothers, Josh Koscheck, and John Fitch. Those guys are all guys who had great careers that never came close to number 1. You kind of stole my thunder. My number 3 guy was Joseph Benavidez. Pick him, and the thing about him, I'm really surprised you did. I'm glad you did. Joseph Benavidez, what people don't realize, he lost to Demetrius Johnson. Their first fight was extremely close. That's why he got a rematch. It was, I believe, it was a split decision. And then he's also lost. He fought in WC against Dominic Cruz when Cruz was a champion, and lost 2 split decisions to a guy who was bigger than him. So. He's been with the pound-for-pound all-time greats and been very close. I think he's going to absolutely destroy Henry Cejudo. My number 2 guy is Donald Cerrone. The guy. He's fighting everybody. He's fun. Everyone loves him. And, he obviously got destroyed by Rafael dos Anjos when he had a title fight. If he's ever going to win a title fight, somehow something's got to break right. Eddie Alvarez is going to fight Nurmagomedov. Nurmagomedov gets hurt. They need someone last minute to jump in. Kind of like Michael Bisping's situation. Donald Cerrone talks himself into that fight. I think stylistically, he's a bad matchup for Eddie Alvarez. So if he's ever going to win a title, UFC would be now. And my number 1 guy, I thought it's all pretty obvious. I think we're all probably taking with that number 1 guy is Dan Henderson. This is a guy he won 2 belts at the same time in Pride. Quentin Jackson for the belt. It was actually pretty competitive. I think I scored it 3 rounds to 2 or maybe 4-1 for Rampage, but they were close rounds. So, and then his other fight in the UFC for the title was against Anderson Silva, and he took Anderson Silva down and won the first round and used his wrestling. And then all of a sudden, the second round, he decided, I want to be an idiot. I want to strike with Anderson Silva. He got hurt, and hurt on the feet, dropped, and then Silva jumped in with rear naked choke. Obviously, Henderson would be taken off this list if he beats Michael Bisping. I don't think he's gonna. I think he has got a puncher's chance. Not even a puncher's chance. He's got a 1 loop in right hand chance. If he lands that, it could happen. I don't think so. I think Bisping's going to kill him. But I hope I'm wrong. I rooted for Bisping because I like to see veterans who've been in the sport a while win a belt. So now I'm flipping and rooting for Henderson to win a belt.
I wish you guys let me go first because you named all the guys on my list. I had Benavides third. I had Henderson second, and I actually had Cerrone first. I was just basing on the UFC career. I think I
Yeah.
mean because Henderson won like you said twice and two belts in Pride, and I was just going by who had the better UFC careers too. So I thought Benavides was third, then Henderson, then Cerrone was my top guy. And Cerrone always seems like he's always there. He just never was able to win the belt, and he's a guy that he beats everybody else. But in this title fights, he comes up just a little bit short. That's why I put him number one. And I just don't think, unfortunately, in the divisions he's in, I just don't see him ever getting a belt unless they do a fight with him and Alvarez right away, which I can't see him doing. I think that's going to be McGregor Alvarez. I think a lot of things, the reasons why Cerrone is just wrong place, wrong time, timing, and I just think he's like an A minus guy. So like he just can't get over that hump to get to that to get that belt. But I think he could easily beat Alvarez, and I think that he could get over that hump and finally get a belt. But for me, he was number one, and like I said, Henderson two and Benavides three. But you guys kind of stole my thunder. You all had everyone all those guys on the list.
I did. I was shocked that everyone took Benavides. I thought for sure I was picking a wild card that no one would think of. I guess I was wrong.
No, I love that Benavides pick. When Justin said that, I'm like, oh shit! I thought I'd have the only guy on this list. I like the Diaz pick too. The Diaz pick was a good pick. I didn't even think about him.
I had those guys in my honorable mention, both brothers. The one thing that you said about Eddie Alvarez, Conor McGregor, I still believe that's going to be the main event for UFC 205.
I hope it is.
One thing I've been really surprised is UFC 205 is less than 2 months away, or about 2 months away. Or is it? Yeah, it's less than 2 months away. They haven't named a main event yet. Right now, the main event is the biggest fight is Rashad Evans and
Tim Kennedy.
Tim Kennedy. Yeah, I highly doubt that's going to be the main event.
Well, you know why? It's because they're waiting on Jones. I think they're waiting on Jones. I think what they want to. I think Weidman's going to be on that card too. Weidman's on that card.
I've been hearing Weidman, Yoel Romero as a rumor.
Romero, yeah.
I actually threw it out there when we were picking on 205 card, so I'm kind of hoping that is. So, but the reason why I really think McGregor Alvarez is going to be the main event is Alvarez fought a long time ago, and they haven't named him. I mean, you've been hearing the Nurmagomedov rumors, but they haven't announced his fight yet, and I think that's because they negotiate with McGregor. I really do.
Yeah.
I think because McGregor hasn't been announced for a fight yet. Neither has Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez, he won the title in, what was it, July?
Yeah.
It's been 3 months now, and he hasn't been announced as an opponent. And you figure training camps will be at least another 2 months, so 5 months without even knowing who he's fighting yet. So, I think that is, and the reason, like I said, the way Cerrone gets a title fight is if whoever's fighting Eddie Alvarez pulls out with an injury last minute, Donald Cerrone would jump at that opportunity.
I was disappointed that the Lawler Cerrone fight didn't happen for 205. That was a big disappointment.
Yeah, well, that happened is Lawler didn't get cleared.
Yeah.
He's still having, I guess, which is really sad. He's still having concussion issues and stuff, which is sad.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one that was here today, going tomorrow, and just as you're starting to get really excited for it, it's gone. But it's better to have it gone quickly than lead up to it. Then he pulls out, So.
Yeah, that actually wasn't his decision. It was the doctor's. They didn't clear him. Glad that he didn't go to another doctor, because if you're having concussion issues, months, weeks later.
If one doctor has,
that's a big issue.
Then listen,
Yeah, that's a bigger issue.
All right, the only thing we have left is to make our predictions for Dustin Poirier versus Michael Johnson.
I'll let Jay go first.
Yeah, I think I think Poirier wins that fight. He's been on a roll. I mean,
big shot.
He's been on a roll. I think.
Yeah, I think Black Lives Matter move. You might get fired from your job now.
They're outside my door right now for that pick. No, I just think I think Poirier's been on a roll. I think the moving up to 155 was a godsend for him. I just think that he was probably having problems making 145, and now 155 it just looks bigger, stronger. It's actually a really good card. I was looking at that card the other day. It's a good card for a free card. Um, Johnson's a good fighter. I just think he's a notch below Poirier. I think Poirier does everything that Johnson does, but better. And I think he's got more power than Johnson. And I think I can see a knockout happen. I say Poirier wins by knockout in the second round.
I was gonna do. I wrote a write up for both guys, how to pick who won, and I was just gonna pick whoever Jay didn't. So I'll go Michael Johnson. I read a little bit more for Michael Johnson just because I kind of figured he was taking Poirier. I mean, I see why Poirier wins. He looks fantastic in the new weight class. He looks big for the weight class, which is really surprising for a guy moving up. His power is top notch in the weight class, which is now speaking, it's crazy for a guy moving up. He's been on a roll. He's took out tough guys. He's he took out Duffy. He took out who did he take out? Bobby Green.
Yep.
And so, but my one issue is he hasn't gone against anybody this high yet since he's moved up high ranks as Michael Johnson. The issues with Michael Johnson, he's been out for a while. I don't think he's fought since he lost to Diaz. That was early in the year. I'm thinking April, maybe even earlier than that. So I definitely see the issues there. It comes down to Poirier's power versus Michael Johnson's speed. I think Michael Johnson's the faster fighter. I think he's a little bit more well-rounded. Hold on, let me rephrase that. He's not more well-rounded. He just uses it more. Poirier actually has a pretty decent ground game that he doesn't use. And he doesn't really use his legs. He uses more of a pure boxing style. Johnson actually really well at adding in leg kicks. He's got fast hands, and he's got very underrated wrestling and great takedown defense. So I'll take Johnson in a war. I think this fight's going to be a war. I think I really doubt that this would be a boring fight. Could go either way. To me, it's a 50-50 pick'em fight. So I'll take Johnson by decision. Don't
forget, too, Poirier beat Yancy Medeiros, too. I think that was his first fight at 155, right? I'm pretty sure he beat Medeiros, too. Medeiros was a good win, too. I think, I don't know, Johnson's never wowed me. I think Johnson's a good fighter. I just think Poirier's better. But you make it sound like it's a 50-50 fight. I don't think it's going to be a 50-50 fight. I think Poirier's a legit favorite.
I wonder what the betting lines is. I bet you it's pretty close. If Poirier's a favorite, it's probably nothing more than negative 150, 175 at max.
Could be. We'd have to look that up.
I'm not sure what the betting line is. Did look up his first fight back after moving back to lightweight was against Carlos Diego Ferreira. Medeiros was the fight after.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was the one after. Okay.
Performance of the night for both fights.
Yeah, he destroyed Medeiros. I remember that. He stopped him. He had a back. Medeiros didn't make weight either for that.
He had a back and forth fight against Duffy though.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Duffy's a tough guy, though. I like Duffy. I think Duffy's a tough guy. That was a good litmus test, and he destroyed Bobby Green, murdered him.
Yeah, knocked him out. Yeah. That's a good win. Bobby Green is actually that's what I'm worried about because Bobby Green is a similar fighter to Johnson. Bobby Green's more of a boxing style, while Johnson has a little more kickboxing style. But I mean, just that good athlete that they're both good athletes.
Right, for me, I got Poirier. Same prediction as Jay, actually. Poirier second round knockout. Jay, I know you got to get going. Hey, thanks for being on the show.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Excellent job.
Thanks, guys.
No
Jay,
problem.
Jay.
What's up, Keith?
Jay, stand up for the national anthem.
I will. Take it easy, guys. Always a pleasure.
See you, brother.
See you guys.
Later.
See ya.
All right, and then we're quickly going to just get off to our NFL fantasy football head-to-head DraftKings thing. I'm pretty sure I got my ass. I didn't even look at the score after I saw how close you were before the Monday night games. I'm pretty sure I just got my ass beat, period, point blank. So right now, Keith is 1-0, and we'll see how long I let that last. I'm gonna have a much better showing.
You're not gonna mention that I beat you in the sports talk league too.
Everybody, I had the same lineup. Everybody beat me in the sports talk. I was last place in the sports talk league. You actually got an invite for that. I sent them out this morning, so hop in there. But yeah, hopefully better things come for me and DraftKings, because that was a terrible first showing.
I'm trying to find the betting odds for Saturday's fight. I find every fight but the main event. It's weird.
I'll give the final score to our DraftKings contest. It was 150.9 to 106.
Oh, it was somewhat close. Dustin Poirier is the favorite. He's at negative 160. Michael Johnson's at plus 130. So it's a pretty close fight on the for the betting odds. So I'm taking Michael Johnson, the underdog.
I'm not. I'm pretty confident. I think Poirier is going to knock him out.
Yeah, I was just going to argue. I was going to argue either side, whoever Jay didn't take. Because I think it's I think at plus 130, I think that should be a push fight.
Yeah,
but
should be a pick 'em.
Yeah, I'm sure the bets have come down on Poirier. That's why he's the favorite.
That could be. I think you might be on to something there. All right, so what do we have to look forward to in sports talk with MMA coverage?
Yeah, I'll put out a DraftKings. Hopefully they're available today. I'll put a DraftKings league together. That's where we've been doing the fight talks in there too. So if you're looking for the fight threads, I've been just adding them to the DraftKings, because in the past I used to create the fight thread, and we'd have some people commenting in the DraftKings league, some people commenting in the fight thread, and so it's kind of hard trick, especially if you were talking in both of them. So I try to keep it all just in the DraftKings one. So I'll update sometime this week. I'll update the Pick'em League. I know I had a good week this week. I don't know how anyone else did. And the big thing that's probably coming out this week, we got a new segment. Ryan Page came up with it. Me, him, and Lee. How do I say his last name? We've been going to do a thing called Fighter of the Week. I'm probably going to do the first one, and then we're going to take turns doing it. I'm going to pick Jimmy Rivera this week, his performance. I'm just going to, like a paragraph or so. We still have the poll of the week. And the best thing coming out this week, hopefully sometime before Saturday, is our newest rankings that me, Jason Powers, and Zach, I don't know how to say his last name, Creatine.
Creatine.
Yeah, Zach Creatine. So we'll have our rankings out soon. Anybody who wants to help out in the rankings, just shoot me a top 10. You can shoot me a top 10 for a weight class, all the weight classes, pound for pound, whatever. We don't want it to be. We want it to be our whole site's rankings. So usually when I mention a guy and I mention a ranking, I'm not going by a UFC ranking, or I'm not going by MMA Junkie or Bloody Elbow, some of these other top sites. I'm going by sports talks. So when I say this guy's ranked 4th, that means that's the average of our rankings.
All right, so yeah, always something to look forward to, guys, on Sports Talks MMA coverage. Tons and tons of stuff coming out there. You laid it all out in the one post, and I just saw how long the list of stuff was, and it's awesome how much you're putting into it. I know the MMA community in Sports Talk is loving it. So
I think we're the best group, but I'm a little biased, but I think we have the best group. I think we're very organized. I've been reaching out to other guys who could really contribute, like Ryan and Lee are going to help out a lot with things. I don't believe, like, one thing about sports talk, and it doesn't really go with our show, but the people who listen, is I don't believe in what the ambassador, one ambassador. They always say you're the MMA ambassador. No, I want everybody contributing, because the more people contribute, the more material we have. And plus, I don't want to just read about my opinion. I want to read other people's opinion. I know there's a lot of guys out there that have great opinions. I mean, Jay always has good takes. I think Derek, that guy Derek Bolin, he always has really good takes, different things like that. So yeah, I think that's one thing we've really been pushing is more material. We're taking over, so you know we got to compete with the NFL right now, but we're taking over.
All right, everybody. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for joining us. If you watched, Jay is long and gone now, but Jay, thanks for being on the show. Keith, great job as always, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.